What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. It's the first Monday of 2020, and on the first Monday of March of 2020, have to correct myself there. And today's question is really talking about what time should you be posting on social media, as well as a couple of small questions I get in regards to time and when to post. Because yes, it is important, but it's really the key takeaway of this whole thing is that's really important for the audience that you're trying to reach. Some people, have to post early in the morning, some have to post later in the evening, some sporadically throughout the day, but it's all determined on you. And I'll kind of talk through why it's so important and what you can actually do today to get the quantitative and qualitative data that you need to figure out when to post, as well as how to figure out a posting schedule that's right for you. But before I begin, I actually just released this morning my blog, a bunch of good questions. Actually, the top 12 questions that I've got received in the last couple of weeks. I like to do these recap ones. I want to send a big shout out to Rachel for always being an amazing person on my lives, in my content, and Rachel, just appreciate you a ton. So, like I said, today we're really talking about what time you should be posting for your audience. And I think this is really important because I think a lot of people, because they don't know when to post, they end up not posting at all, which is counterintuitive. So I really do believe that this is a topic that I want people to really grasp, because it's really not that hard. The truth, if you were to really distill this whole life down into one big sentence, is figure out 5 different times that you think your audience is active on and go post in one of those 5 times. That's really the basics of it. Now I'll walk through how I discovered the times where I post, how I post, and then really let's demystify a lot of the back end of this. But like I said, the blog is there. There's 11 other questions besides this one that I really do think there's a ton of value in. So if you could go check it out and leave me some feedback. I'm always looking to grow, learn, and get better with these, especially. So let me just make sure that we are good and we have no interruptions this time. Not that we always have interruptions, but it makes everything interesting. So what do we have for you today? The quickest piece of feedback I have in regards to when you should be posting is I want you to go in the search bar and look for the person that you're trying to reach, and then really think about what time they interact with people. So you can go in their post and you can see when they're liking, commenting, especially in that 24-hour time frame. You kind of see like 17 minutes ago, or 17 minutes ago, or 17 hours ago. You kind of dictate which times work best, because you can start seeing them. But what I really want you to think is to use is think about your profession. If the person you're trying to reach is in a 9 to 5 job, for instance, right? What are those times during their day when they might be mentally exhausted and go on social media for a quick break? Or when are they in peak research phase and they will be on social media looking for people like you to solve a specific need for them? Right? So start thinking about high level, what times do you hypothetically think, or yourself, go on these platforms? I think the best way to learn about what your audience, when your audiences are on these platforms, is to think about when are you actually on these platforms, because studying your own habits and your own, times that you're on these platforms, I think shows a lot of both introspection and on yourself, on when you are most active, that can lend a ton of value towards the people that you're trying to reach. So for instance, my target market is specifically small businesses, and I know that they are mostly active between, or they're most likely active on social media between 6:30 and about, I want to say 6:30 to about 8:30, because what I need to put in consideration, especially with business owners, operators, entrepreneurs, is that there's the time when they are probably heads down in work, and they might start heads down work at 6:30 but go on social media before. That's why I have a post that goes out about 6:30, 6:35 a.m. depending on, some days after you've done it so many times like I have, you can kind of find the specific nuances where on Tuesdays, for instance, if I post at 6:35, I get a little bit more engagement overall than if I were to post at 6:40. On Mondays, 6:40 works a lot better, so I try to get as close to those times as I can. And how do I post? A lot of it is from my feed. I do have a team that helps support me, so we do that. But mostly it's going to be probably 96% of the time, it's going to be me posting. But I always have help when I need it. So that's one way of thinking about it, right? So what's those off times before work that you can think about that your audience might be looking for some excuse right before they get started in their work? Go there. The second one is a lull in their workday. So if you work with, like I said, most audiences will be working with people who are typically, I want to say typically between the 9 to 5, 8 to 6, the group. So there, the biggest lull that I see is, after your Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning meetings, about 10:45 is a great time to post because people might be on there for a couple of minutes, might see your content, and you never know where that can go. So the numbers we have so far is 6:30, right? 6:30, 6:35. Then we have 10:30, 10:45. I do these lives at 7:30, partly because I love it. I know I don't get the most viewership from this time, but it's the time that works best for me. And I know that there is a certain amount of people that watch it right now, but a lot more people watch it after the fact. And I'd rather have them have this content out for them and not be rushed, if I were to move it back a little bit. But I digress. Then then that's right before the lunch rush, right? Then you actually want to start posting at 12:30, 12:20, 12:30, that time frame. That's when people are probably at lunch. They are most likely on their phones, either on Instagram, Facebook, more Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter, in my opinion. So they're on around that time they are. And again, this is feedback that I'm seeing and that works for my market. For your market, again, use the search bar, study the habits, and again, your person that you're trying to reach a lot better than I do. So these are my times, but if you can glean any insights from it, I do want to give that to you, right? So then lunch rush, we have another one go out. Usually this is a text post, this is a video, it is an image. I don't really stress about what content goes out here because I know that people are actually consuming quite a bit of it. Then I have another one, and the second lull, which is around, I like to call it the coffee break time. It's between 2 to 3, 2:30 to 3:30, depending on your audience. There's a great little time there when, like I said, it's called the coffee break. People are going to coffee, they're going to make coffee, they're standing up from their heads down work and walking somewhere. So when you walk somewhere, often if you don't talk to someone, you're going to grab your phone, go on there, and actually participate in online discussions and engage with people and like, comment, all that fun stuff. Then really that's where I would cut it off on posting, unless you have an evening crowd where that they're staying past 5:30. I would say that's probably a good time to post then, or even I hate to say it, but 4:45 to 5, in between that range, is another sweet time when people are starting to check out from work, or if they work from the 8 to 4, it's going to be a little on that coffee lull that we talked about. But that's another great time to post, and that's a very quick, right? You want a quick post, text post for that, because if people are wanting just to consume really quickly before they only have 10-15 minutes before they leave. So those are the times that work for me. Like I said, this is all dependent on the audience that you have, and specifically I want you just to study their moments. But if you really deconstruct what I have given you, is in the beginning, right before work, figure out a time. The first kind of lull, heavy workload needs a lull, lunch lull, and coffee break, and then right before they end their workday. That is the most appropriate times, in my opinion, for myself to post. Some audiences differ. Sometimes I do post a lot of my content in the morning to have it sit and watch. Again, the only real big example, and the thing I know the most accurate about, is that it's dependent on your audience, it's dependent on yourself when you can actually get this content out, and it's dependent on the fact that you need to experiment. Again, I have these times that I think will work / I know will work, because I've spent so much time putting out content in different times and different types. I know that in the morning, if I do a quick text post, those do somewhat better. But if I were to do a video post or an image post, those might do better. And again, I spend about a month testing any of the content ideas I have, spend a month testing different times. And again, this is an ongoing process. It's never stagnant. That's what I need you to understand. The biggest thing is, I used to post at 8:30 a.m. and I would be lucky if I get one or two people. What I wasn't thinking is, oh, people are like getting to work, they're driving to work, they're commuting, they might not be on their phones at this time. And as soon as I switched it to 7:30 a.m., I got a ton more engagement. There's a reason I do these lives at this point, because I used to get so much attention at 7:30 that I was like, I need to make a show around that specific time. So Clifford, what do you have? My audience is global, so my posting times make it in consideration various time zones around the world. Yes, you're in a very unique situation, but I will say your decision makers, especially if your audience is global, you have niches, right? So you can target your content to specific niches, even as a global audience. So for instance, if you have business developers that are in EST time zone, right? Again, at that point, you need to be posting, like I said, at the 6:30 EST time zone, right? But at the same time, if people have that same lull, right? They have the same like maybe coffee lull, and I think what is it? We've talked about it before, but I think you've worked with people in Germany before, and I think they're about 8 hours ahead. So that's 11:30. So you might not get them that much, but if you post at 7:30, which is still peak time EST, that might be that lunch lull that they might be on their phone in Germany. But again, specific audiences have specific preferences. I see a lot more business owners I connect with in the 6:30, 7:30 range on these lives, when business developers and fellow marketers I meet and connect more with at 10:30 a.m. So it all depends, and I'm okay with my content not getting as many likes, here and there, but it's reaching the audience that I wanted to reach. So hopefully that was a ton of value for you, Brian. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being on. We need to catch up. I'm starting to build a list of marketers, because as I have, and this is kind of a fun little update for everyone. Now that I really, we started when I first got into marketing with being so high level in what we do, and I've brought down what I want to do for Boundless and what Boundless focuses on, to only content strategy for lead generation, content creation, and then social media management, all geared towards actually making more sales for businesses and whatnot. So I'm looking to actually build up my list for website developers, for SEO experts, for Google Analytics experts, for Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. So if you guys know any marketers that you love working with, let me know. Like I said, I'm building this referral list because I don't want to do any of that. I want people who are passionate about those things to do those specific things. So if you have anyone in mind, let me know, or just comment them here or send me a direct message. Always here to help. Like I said, for those of you who are just getting in, I would mean the world to me if you looked at the link I just posted. It is to a blog that I wrote specifically about 12 of the 12 top questions I got in February. I want to make sure that I translate that over to especially people on live, because the biggest thing I'm always leading with is how much value can I give. Again, if I can distill a bunch of these lives down into very thoughtful and specific messages, right, that is easily consumable, I want to do that for you, because I get it, especially with website questions and stuff I've had to do as a business owner and get better with. That will help a ton of people. So Chad, thanks for being on. Clifford, appreciate you, my man. Brian, as always, great seeing you. Rachel, you're the sweetest. Thank you so much for being on. And then Mariella, thank you guys so much for being on. Hope you guys have a ton of value. Enjoy the first Monday in March, and we will see you guys very, very soon. Figure out what times work best by your audience, by experimenting, trying, and just, again, don't be afraid to post, because it might not be the right time. You won't know until you do. Have a fantastic, guys, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.